Hello, beautiful people. So today we're going to look at how we can reverse a neuroplastic or perceived danger pain, which also can be called mind-body syndrome or TMS, as Dr. Sarno's used to called it. Our psychoneuroimmunology, this field of medicine, is rapidly becoming more and more established and understood. Psychosomatic disorders is another name for it, and we're realizing more and more the extent of this problem that we face with stress-related disorders. So in this video, I'm going to help you give you some practical ways and steps that you can take to rewire the brain out of pain, which sounds like a bit crazy, but it's a bit, it sounds difficult, but it's not. It's easy. Just like the pain, as I hope I've explained in my previous videos, that pain can become a habit through this neurocircuitry that we have for perceived danger pain. So until now, I hope I've conveyed the message that all pain is real, that it's not just created in the brain and don't have any symptoms. Obviously have the very serious and real symptoms, and nobody can tell you that it's not real. All pain is created by the brain and learned by the brain, as I've shown in another video, and can be retrained just as a bad habit, right? Stress and emotions can create perceived danger pain, even though there is no physical damage in the body, right? This is key because we spend most of our time, and I did like you, going down the route of diagnoses, trying to find my problem. What was the problem? What is the problem? Is it structural? Went to MRIs, all sorts of things. But we have to start realizing that there doesn't have to be a physical damage or problem for pain to arise. And I think that was also shown very clearly by the construction worker who stood on, or thought he had stood on, a nail, 7-inch nail. So why are we getting chronic pain? This is what I covered in the previous videos. So go back and have a look at that. So chronic pain can be caused by the brain, and it's actually very common. The 70% of the NHS in the UK, I'm not sure the figures in America, but they're probably similar, end in what's called MEUS, medically unexplained syndromes. And this is basically stress disorders, is an epidemic in the Western world and needs to be addressed accordingly. And it's my mission to help people to address and to overcome and understand with the knowledge, therefore it can be released. And this is what the video, I'm going to go into the details, or some details of this. So we have this danger machinery in our brain, danger signals, and even in the absence of injury, especially under stressed situations like most of us have, we can get very, very can ramp up this danger signal massively, which is of course a protection, and not to be what's the word, the function has to be understood so that we can actually release it, right? But also remember that stress, when we say stress, it's external stress as well as internal stress. So from emotional stress is another key factor in psychosomatic disorders, mind-body syndrome. So you might have chronic pain in your back, in your abdomen, you might have in your head, you might have headaches, you might have knee, leg pain, and symptoms, for example, other chronic symptoms like IBS, fatigue, stress. Any chronic symptom is also can be put into this box of mind-body syndrome, right? The fear, but what happens is the fear and the worry of this of these symptoms can help to perpetuate the symptoms, as I've said before in the videos, right? So this pain, the fear and the worry of the pain makes it become chronic, right? It's the mind perceiving that there's danger signals. So by fearing and worrying about it more, you actually you tell the brain, well, yes, I'm still in danger. And so the danger signal machinery gets ramped up, right, to tell us that we're not safe yet. But yet there is no structural problem or that, some real reason for the signal to be shouting still, right? We learn pain, so it's neural circuits, as I've been showing in the videos, just like a habit. So when we're learning to ride a bike, or all these habits, habits that we start to learn, pain can be learned in exactly the same way, and therefore unlearned in exactly the same way, or at least reprogrammed, so that we can actually give a sense of safety to the body, so that we don't have to have that pain anymore, right? So when just like a habit becomes automated, it goes into the subconscious brain, and so it stays there unless we actually recondition the response. And the conditioning response that I've shown also in my other videos, my previous videos, that there is a conditioned response that can be like a trigger. So it can be, light, it could be spicy food, creating abdominal pain, it can be bending over like I had, which was triggering my severe stabbing in my lower back and sciatica. Sitting down can be another trigger for people. Even weather changes or some kind of external factor like that, which is completely benign. So all of these things can be learned, just like Pavlov's dog, in its learned conditioned response, and rewired and rewired and rewired into us to create that. So basically, what do we do about it, right? What can we do to retrain the brain away from pain? And this is what's called a reprocessing pain, the pain signals. The first thing that I really want you to do is to be checked out, obviously, by a doctor. We want to rule out fractures, structural problems, tumors, or infections, obviously, but at the same time with a kind of with a word of caution, because doctors are also not trained in mind-body syndrome or mind-body or chronic pain neurocircuits and all these things. So they may associate an MRI scan. They may look at it and see that you've got a bulging disc or some kind of degenerative disc disorder, and it's actually important to realize that the MRI often is inconclusive, and often brings up abnormal wear and tear, and can be a cause effect. A relationship can be attributed to the pain. In actual fact, it's just a normal wear and tear of your in the body, right? And this can be seen in a study that showed asymptomatic volunteers coming in and doing an MRI and seeing the percentage people who had normal degenerative diseases, disc issues or whatever, or bulging discs, and no pain whatsoever. So we have to be aware when we get a diagnosis, also perhaps also getting a holistic integrative doctor opinion as well, so that we can actually see the whole, not just the parts, we can look at the whole. So with saying that, getting checked out is absolutely number one, rule of thumb to rule out anything more severe. And then having said that, when we can see that we're definitely in the category of the U's, right, in the non-diagnosed, or there's no real reason, structure for problem or anything with your for your symptoms, then we can start to move into understanding, educating yourself about mind-body syndrome, pain. There's lots of books and lots of recommendations that I can make. I will link them down below. But Dr. John Sarno's, my mentor, is one of the, was the godfather of mind-body syndrome, TMS, he called it. And you can join communities like myself or other mind-body communities that, spread this knowledge and this awareness. I would recommend that you don't go into, for example, other groups that are not actually providing a solution or are not seeing it as a mind-body issue, because it can actually wire the pain and the symptom in more, and then you associate and you get addressed, attached to it even more, right? Because it's a habit, it's a learned thing, right? So the more people you know and associate with, and especially on a strong emotional level, the more it can get wired in. So then once you've done that, knowledge is key, but also wisdom is essential for healing. So knowledge is just the knowing of the information, but actually putting into practice is the wisdom. And that's key, and that's, sometimes requires support, but also just practical steps to actually make this transition in your brain, right? And one of the things that you can do is to learn to turn off the danger signals. So the fear of the pain makes the pain worse, and the triggers of the pain, if you can associate, like find the trigger and then literally talk to your brain. So just as if you're talking to a child, you're saying, that I'm okay, that I'm safe, that I, thank you for the danger signals, but I'm okay. I don't need you to protect me so much anymore. I'm safe. As I said, I'm listening to my body now. I hear you. These are all things that you can start to say. What is it that you're trying to show me? So now I'm listening to you. You don't need to scream at me with all these symptoms and all these pains. So you're literally starting to create a kind of sense of compassion, and yet kind of strongly saying, you don't need to shout and scream anymore, body. Thank you very much. And I'm fine, and you can relax, right? So those are this is like the first step, is to actually identify the ability to, to start the process to start to talk to your brain. Learning how to, the fourth step is calming and soothing your nervous system. So like I said, all of these things, the brain is perceiving danger. So in the external environment or the internal environment, the nervous system is the message system for this. So learning how to breathe more slowly is a first, essentials tool. Meditation, mindfulness, observing your sensations without fear, and doing like somatic tracking, which is also been shown. These tools have all been shown to have massive effects on the brain and the nervous system to calm and soothe. That will be practices that you can put into your life, the habits that heal. You can see many on my YouTube channel. Identify the triggers and smile at those triggers rather than being worried and fearful. Now that you know that you're safe and there's no actual structural problem or difficult problem in your body, you can gear your system towards that, to an internal smile and internal relaxation. Calm and soothe your emotions. As I said before, it's very important for creating internal safety. And knowing that your emotions have an internal guidance system. I've done lots of videos on that, and so I won't go into the details. Notice your environmental stresses and address them. This is really key, because sometimes our body is screaming and shouting because our environment is not fulfilling, is not meaningful to us. We're in a shitty, dead-end job, in a rut, in the kind of rut of life, the spiral, the rat race. We might be in an environment that's not supporting us emotionally, physically. We might be needing to learn how to put boundaries. So often the body's telling us, kind of like, it's coming up with some information that we just don't want to look at. And so that might be important to start taking these input in the information and trying to like figure it out, right? So you might be needing putting some boundaries and putting some self-love rituals, or taking time out for you, setting up self-care and self-love rituals, right? You can also use journaling for this, and that's something I'm going to show you another time. I've got a video on how you can journal without rewiring, without re-triggering yourself. Take more time for you is another highly recommended way to release stress, and prioritize yourself and self-care and movement, doing exercises and activities that are fun for you. So that's another thing as well. There's sometimes, all this responsibility in our life, like between, when we get married, have kids, having a job, having a house, all these things, this extra responsibilities can be very triggering to our, inner child part, or the part of us that felt free. And so sometimes the pain can actually just be a signal to that we want to be more creative and more joyful and more spontaneous in our life, right? And I had a client who realized that she had, because of her pain, she had taken away a lot of things in her life, like music and going to festivals and having fun with her friends, and traveling, and all these things that are fun and exciting and creative and vibrant, because she was scared of and in fear of having her symptoms ramp up, right? So this is the kind of thing that we need to start to realize don't help. They're actually wiring in and conditioning in the pain and making it worse and perpetuating it and making it even more chronic, right? So, and don't talk about your pain to other people, and don't dwell on it. Doubt obviously comes in, and there is a cycle to the healing process, but don't also go on sites again that I said that might wire in more possibility of symptoms and all this kind of thing, right? So when you're when you have a response to your pain, try and smile at it, calm it, soothe it. I try and relate this to as if as if you're talking to a child, right? You can start to there's a powerful signal when you stress up and you contract and you worry and you fear, just like when your child falls over and hurts its knee. If you just look at the child and say, everything's okay, everything's fine, it's going to not scream and shout. But if you come over and start panicking and going, oh my God, it's going to get worried, right? It's going to get more worried. So just think about it like that you're trying to reassure your body, just as you reassure your child when it's fallen over that everything's fine. It doesn't need to scream and cry about the pain, right? So again, giving the reassurance, giving that everything is okay. The subconscious mind is just like that child, and the reaction is waiting to see your reaction to the pain. And so if you undo that reaction by bringing in new calming, soothing tools, and habits that heal, then you can start to retrain your brain away from the pain and actually create and release it altogether. So with that, I'll love you and leave you, and I'll see you in the next episode. Lots of love. Bye.